My husband and I love to go on adventures. So one year, we decided that we were going to whitewater raft down the Gauley River. Now, the Gauley River is one of the top 10 whitewater rafting rivers in the world. And before you go down it, you have to prove that you've been on another river. And they made us sign a document that said that. Well, the day of the river trip comes, and we get in the bus to drive to the dam and the head of the river. So we're going across the dam. I look down, and I suddenly see what we've gotten ourselves into. This huge river of rocks and boulders and trees, and then the dam. 3 gigantic tubes of water just spewing out down the river, creating a maelstrom of rushing water and rocks and river. And a frisson of fear goes down my spine as I realize I can't get off that river for 6 hours once I've started. We get out of the bus, we walk down to the side of the river, and we meet the people who are going to be in our raft trip. There was this really nice couple, and they were pretty quiet, husband and wife. We introduced ourselves. And then our guide. He was a true West Virginia mountain man, accent, beard, built like a halfback, and decked out to go down the river. And then 2 girls, totally dressed to go down the river with 1-inch fingernails. And I'm starting to wonder, have they ever been down the river before? Well, we didn't really have time to think about it, so as we started to step into the raft, one of the girls commented to my husband that he was wearing a beautiful cross. Oh, he'd forgotten to take it off. So he took it off, wrapped it up, stuck it in a bag, and tucked it underneath the raft. And in we go. First wrap it up, Satan's cesspool. We get to this rapid and we're paddling hard. Our guide Andy's telling us, paddle left, paddle right, move here, and the water's pouring in and we're bouncing all over the place. And in the middle of it, I hear, ah! The 2 girls are in the back of the raft like it was a roller coaster ride down the river, paddles up, screaming. I knew they'd never been down a river before. Well, we get out of Satan's cesspool and we got to bail the boat. So we're bailing the boat, and about this time, my husband decides he needs to know a little bit more about the guide who's taking us down the river. Now, I'm hoping to hear something like, I was in the Coast Guard, and I just loved the water so much I had to do something on water. Or maybe I'd hear, I was a wilderness EMT, and I loved it and decided to become a guide. But I knew we were in trouble when I heard the words, "Well, it was like this, dude." Turns out, he says, I was a bartender and I had a drinking problem. And one night I was out in my truck with my brother and I crashed and I was drunk and he got hurt really bad and we needed something for him to be able to do. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to take up rafting. And then he turns to the 2 girls and he says, by the way, you guys had better paddle when I tell you to paddle because this is my first official trip down the river as a guide. I looked at my husband and I said, you mean to tell me we're on the Gauley River with an alcoholic bartender who got drunk, crashed his truck, injured his brother, and this is his first official trip down the river? At which point, the wife of the couple, who at this point has said nothing in the entire trip, turns to my husband, looks at him, and says, you're religious, do something. Now, the point of that story is, could I trust that guide to get me down the river? And the answer at this point was clearly no. I did not trust him. And it turns out I couldn't trust him. It turned out to be an 8-hour ride instead of 6. We crashed twice, and somebody came out with a broken leg. So the question is, everybody's always looking at you and asking the question, can I trust you as a leader? Can I trust you to do what's right? Can I trust you to hold the people around me accountable? And can I trust you to make the hard